Rural Focus, Joe with you this morning, and it's now time to catch up with the CEO of International Animal Health, Chris Lawlor. How are you this morning, Chris?
Well, thanks, Jared, and good morning to your listeners.
Great to have you on board, coming all the way from Paris this morning. I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone while they've been in Paris, mate, so obviously looking out the window at the Eiffel Tower is probably the cliche.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Fantastic, mate. We're chatting a little bit this morning about an Aussie global first that almost never was, and it's been a lot of work for you. It's over 20 years and 19 individual field trials. Can you tell us a little bit about what the study's been all about?
Okay, so the product is a product called BioWorma that we've only just released onto the Australian market and also onto the New Zealand market, and in the next couple of months into the US, and we've got pending registrations in Europe. So it's all about a fungus that CSIRO found in their field studies in the early 1990s. We got together with them in 1997 and commenced the work. About 2004, CSIRO had a change of direction, so we were left then to continue to commercialise the fungus. So what the fungus does is you feed the fungus to a grazing animal, passes through the animal, has no effect at all, and all the action occurs in the manure of the grazing animal. Not a great subject, but that's how it works. So what it does is it traps and consumes the larvae, the parasitical worm larvae, in the manure of grazing animals.
Wow.
So the concept is to try and break that resistance cycle.
And obviously, with all these field trials and stuff you've been doing, results are coming back with excellent results. And now that it's on the ground here in Australia and various other places, have you been hearing a lot of feedback from users?
Yeah, the feedback has been really good. It's taken a little while for people to get to grips because traditionally they've used chemical wormers. A lot of the chemical wormers that are out there are not working particularly well. So what happens for the average, say, horse or cattle owner, they'll use the wormer, they'll find out that they're not actually getting the response they thought they were first getting. So then they do a fecal egg count. When they do that, in some cases they find out the wormers had little or no effect. So, but once they introduce the BioWorma to that cycle, then it starts to reduce the amount of larvae going back onto pasture, which can be a little bit hard for some of your listeners to get to the grasp. So just to sort of recover. So first of all, you do a fecal egg count to see whether or not your animals actually need worming. Second step is then to select an appropriate chemical wormer. Now, you then need to ascertain whether or not that chemical wormer has actually worked. A lot of people assume that once they've wormed their animals, that's it, that they should be fine. But if you don't get a response to the wormer, that's where the issues start to occur.
I would assume that in a monetary figure that this would be saving a lot of money as well for farmers into the future.
Look, we think so over time. I mean, the critical issues in Australia and around the world are things like barber's pole worm in sheep and cattle. It's a major problem. It's costing Australian farmers hundreds of millions of dollars a year. We estimate that it costs alone in Australia around $1 billion Australian and New Zealand around $700 million.
Wow.
So whatever we can do to, you get certain chemicals in the last couple of years have been out and they've lasted about 3 to 5 years before resistance is set in. Yeah. Now, one of the things with the fungus, of course, it's a natural fungus that comes off pasture. So the chances of getting resistance are going to be extremely low because basically what happens once it's done and stopped in the manure, it dies off and the process starts again.
Wow. So there's lots of stuff to look into. Obviously, we've just scraped the surface of this product and you can get on and check out more details. Just check out BioWorma. And Chris, congratulations to you and the team. It's obviously been a long road, but you've got to the end of it now and come out with this fantastic product.
Thank you very much, Joe. We're looking forward to as much feedback as we can get in the coming months, but the response so far has been absolutely amazing. And to be part of a global first for an Australian company is just so exciting.
It certainly is, Chris. Look forward to hearing more about how the product rolls on over the coming weeks, and thanks for catching up with us on Rural Focus today.
Thank you very much, Jared, and to your listeners. All the very best.